this is going to be a response to the questions that I got asked in my Q&A video. So, I think that I've figured out my mic a little bit better. Unfortunately, when I was filming the eye examination video, I had it on the wrong format, and I can't go back and change that now, so maybe I'll redo it in the future. I don't know. I also want to apologize if there's any background noise during the filming of this, because I do live in a busy city and I do have loud neighbors with 3 children and a yappy small dog. So I'm going to be reading these questions off my phone, and unfortunately for that, I'm going to have to be looking down sometimes in the video, which I hope isn't too distracting. And, yeah, so I hope this is probably going to be a long video. I would say, well, it could be upwards to an hour. I really don't know how long it's going to be. Then I'm going to take my time. And, so let's get started. So firstly, I've been getting questions about my glasses and if they're real or not, and they are real. They are prescription glasses. I cannot see without them, and I don't have any contacts right now. So, for those that say they cover my face or they prefer me without them, you're just gonna have to deal with it. So I'm just gonna go with the questions that I know off the top of my head were asked. I had wondered if I wanted to do the video with me saying the usernames out loud, but I decided not to, so I apologize. There was one guy who, I think it was a guy, I apologize if it's a girl, that wanted me to wish them a happy birthday. I think their name was Sosa. Happy birthday, Sosa. So, okay. First question that comes to mind is, where do you live? And I live in Canada, and I live in the province of British Columbia, and that's probably about as deep as I'll go into it. British Columbia is a beautiful place to live. We have the mountains here, we have the ocean, lakes. It's very beautiful. If you haven't been here before, I suggest that you make time to travel if you can. I was born here in Canada, and so were my parents, but not my grandparents. They were immigrants. So that comes to another question, is my ethnic background. And I am Sicilian, Finnish, German, Scottish, French Canadian to be exact, and a little bit of Native American in the Ojibwe tribe. My age. I am 24 years old. A lot of you guys think I'm like 20, 21. which is, I guess, a compliment maybe, I don't know. A lot of people think that I'm younger. And my zodiac sign is a Scorpio. I've actually had my birth chart done by an astrological chart reader, and she was fairly accurate with the predictions that happened to me in the future, which was weird, and it was just something that I wanted to try on my bucket list. And yeah, so, but I don't really believe in daily horoscopes or anything like that. Next question I can think of. Right now I'm actually wearing extensions. If anyone's gonna ask, how'd your hair get so much longer? It's just extensions. I don't wear them too often. Do I have any tattoos or piercings? I used to have my nose pierced. I was thinking about getting it redone again, but I'm not entirely too sure. Tattoos, I want to get quite a few tattoos. I have no tattoos at the moment, but I want to get some done, and I'll tell you a couple of them. One of them is going to be a quote from Charles Bukowski, and well, it's not so much a quote as it is a phrase. It's just a phrase, I guess. And it is, what matters most is how well you walk through the fire. So, it has an important, special meaning to me. And another quote I'll be having is a quote by a philosopher named Heraclitus, and it is, all is flux and nothing abides. But that can be interpreted in different ways because of the language that it's translated from. But it will be tattooed in English. I will be getting a sleeve, like a half sleeve probably, of a colorful nebula. I really do like black and grays and dark colors, as you can tell, but I'm also a really big fan of pastels and nebulas in general. Big fan of astronomy. My throat always makes these weird noises when I make these videos, and it's so irritating. I'm just gonna go to my YouTube and I'm gonna see what I have here. So, how did I get into ASMR? And I'll actually start out that question off with the other question, is how did I find out about ASMR? And I think about 5 or 6 years ago, I was watching massage videos by Lita. I'm sure many of you know who she is. And I think I stumbled across Gentle Whispering. I believe she was my first ASMR artist that I stumbled upon. I can't exactly remember too well, but I feel like it was definitely her. And I was like, wow, this is exactly what I've been looking for. So that's how I found the ASMR community, was through Maria, and that was years ago when she first started. And then the other question is, who are my favorite ASMR artists? And there's so many. So I'm just gonna say maybe a top 5 right now, or ones I've been listening to lately, because I have so many that I love. So the first one is going to be Soft Anna, and she does videos only in Polish, but the quality of her videos is amazing, and the way that she enunciates and projects her voice and her presence is so relaxing to me. Another one is Paul Artwork, and he's an ASMR artist from Quebec. And my third one would probably be Massage ASMR Dimitri, ASMR Novastar Kara. One time I remember for a month straight I was on this really remote island and I was feeling really lonely, and I listened to her one, I think it was called a student nurse roleplay. I listened to that every single night, and I just passed right out every single night. Who else? So many people. Whispers Red, Emma, she's fantastic. There's so many. Obviously, Heather Feather. There's so many great people. Duff the Psych. I find that my triggers for YouTube, when I'm watching videos, tend to be people with accents or English that is broken up, I guess you could say, English as a second language, and role plays. Those are probably my 2 favorite triggers, are the ones that I watch the most. And I think I know why. So, that leads me to another question, and that is, what was my first ASMR experience and how did I know that I was experiencing it? I first experienced ASMR when I was very, very young, about 4 or 5, and I had a British doctor, and I always looked forward to going to the doctor because it would give me tingles up my spine when he would put the stethoscope on my back or my chest. And he just had a very relaxing accent and very mild-mannered, very caring and nice man. I actually had another question that had something to do with, would you still watch videos if you don't get tingles? And actually, I never get tingles when I watch videos, ever. I simply watch and listen to them for relaxation purposes and to fall asleep. That's it. I don't get any tingles. I believe I did in the beginning, probably, but I definitely don't anymore. And I still do watch them every day, or every other day if I'm busy. So, another question that was asked was, do you have any ASMR artists that you hate? and I definitely don't hate anybody in the ASMR community. At all. I don't hate anybody in general in life, I don't think. I had another question that was regarding ASMR videos. That had to do with, what do I think of the women that use their cleavage as a way of views or whatever. I couldn't remember how the question was. I'm paraphrasing. But, yeah. I don't see it as a bad thing. If you're an adult and that's what you want to do, then you should go for it. There's a place for everybody in ASMR, and I even have a video with my cleavage, and it's just there. They're just boobs. You know, there's obviously sexualized ASMR, sensual, and it helps relax people, and it's obviously a controversial subject, but to me, it's okay, you know. It's nothing I'm gonna lose sleep over or be upset about, and if you are upset about it, then that's your opinion. Yeah, it's my opinion on it. I'm trying to think of the other questions without looking at my phone. What is my favorite? I had questions about my favorite books and movies and films and such, and I have such a wide variety of that. I'm always watching movies. I apologize. I had to cut the video because my next door neighbor's dog was barking very loud, and then they started running up the stairs. So I literally need like a soundproofed room, like a studio. At this point, it's I know it can be very jarring to hear any type of loud noise, so I try to avoid it as much as possible. So, on the topic of movies, music, and books, my favorite books are Lolita by Vladimir Nabokov, and I Am on Rye, Women and Post Office by Charles Bukowski, The Age of Reason, that's another book. I read a lot when I was a teenager. I tend to read here and there sporadically now, but I read a lot more as a teenager for sure. So those are some of my favorite books. I've read everything from feminist books to philosophy books like Nietzsche and Kierkegaard, and I read existentialist books, and I read a lot of Carl Sagan, and one of my favorite books is Cosmos by Carl Sagan too. So those are some of my favorite books. So in terms of music, I have such a wide variety of music, honestly. I listen to everything from jazz I just help myself out here and go through my liked videos. So, I like Rage Against the Machine, the Stone Roses, as you guys know, the Misfits, and Joy Division, Smiths. I like some black metal music like Bathory and Mayhem. I like Vaporwave like Saint Pepsi. I like Mac DeMarco, New Order, and Depeche Mode. And so yeah, there's so much that I don't know, I'm all over the place. I really like Chet Faker. Yeah, when I was a teenager, I used to be really obsessed with The Doors. The Doors and Garbage. Those were my two favorite bands as a teenager. So, my favorite food. So, I'm a vegetarian, and I would say I'm a vegetarian, basically almost vegan. Meaning I won't buy or drink milk or eggs, but I'll consume products that have the milk or eggs in them, if that makes sense. So, I really like pasta and desserts. So, I would say my favorite food is probably fries. I know that sounds really bland, but I love French fries and just potatoes in general. So, I hope I don't forget too many questions, because there's so many. I'm a really big fan of the TV show Hannibal and American Horror Story, the first couple seasons mainly. I like Twin Peaks. I like The X-Files, The Simpsons. What else do I watch? Peep Show. Peep Show is probably my favorite show of all time. I love it so much. British television in general is always good, I find. Okay, so what are my religious beliefs? So this is kind of a controversial question, because I might get some backlash, but I'm a very blunt and open-minded and opinionated person, so I would say I am what you would call an atheist, but I'm also not Evan Peters, and Jared Leto. Who else? I don't pay too much attention to celebrities. I know he's dead, but Kurt Cobain. I just think he was really attractive. I'm trying to think of who else. I don't know. I can only think of those three, so I'm just gonna go with those three right now, okay? So, do you prefer to go out and party or stay at home? I prefer to be in the company of a small group or an individual. I'm not a party person. I never have been. Yeah, I definitely am a homebody, and I'm shy. I've never been to a club, ever. I've actually never been to a bar, either. Like to drink. I've been to a bar to eat, but not to drink. But I'm not a little goody two-shoes. Don't get me wrong there. Okay. The unfortunate thing is when you're on your phone on the mobile, is that if your phone shuts off, it will just go scroll back up to the top, and it's annoying. So I might just like keep my phone up like this, and yeah. Am I dating? No, I'm single. What kind of car do you have? I do not drive whatsoever. Are you an only child? Nope, I have a sister and a brother. I'm the youngest. I wonder how long this video's been going now. I don't know. How tall am I? This might surprise people, but I'm 5'2.5". Who would you want to play you in a movie about your life? Probably me. I used to want to be an actress when I was younger. Probably me. I don't know. Would you describe yourself as nerdy? See, now, I find that guys, especially, they tend to be like, oh, you're not nerdy. Like, I've encountered that a lot. When I'd be like, yeah, I like nerdy stuff, like, Star Wars, or, I don't know, gaming. And they'll be like, oh, you're like a fake nerdy girl, because I don't know, guys like to do, I don't know. So I'm not really gonna answer that. I don't really like, stereotypes, labels put on me. I also had another question that was, do I see myself as alternative? Sort of, I guess, in a way. Not really, like, I mean, it depends on what you think alternative is, right? So, do you like anime? And if so, what are your favorites? I do like anime, and my favorite animes that I can think of off the top of my head right now are Welcome to the NHK and Cowboy Bebop and Sailor Moon, Umu-chan, I think of what else. I watched this one, but I can't remember the name of it. I'm a very big fan of the Studio Ghibli films too, like My Neighbor Totoro and Spirited Away. If you play video games, what games have kept you up at night because you couldn't stop playing them? Lots. For a while I was playing Skyrim like all night. It's all I would do was play Skyrim. I was obsessed. Another one that comes to mind is years ago, Super Mario Galaxy. Portal. I remember I'd play Portal for hours, and it'd be before I'd go to bed, and I would like kind of hallucinate before bed that I was falling into holes, and it was craziness. My favorite ice cream, probably, if I had 1,000 flavors by Ben & Jerry's, I think. Do you like being dressed up or dressed down? I want to say dressed down. I do like dressing up once in a while, but I definitely feel more comfortable in dressing down more clothes. I still think I'm stylish though. What do you look for in a man or a boyfriend? Kindness, intelligence, just typical normal things really, you know. Like I don't really have like a certain set of rules, like, oh, you know, I need to have a boyfriend that's 6 feet tall or has a 6-pack. I don't have any of that. In terms of looks or anything like that, looking for a mate, I like guys who are just genuine. It's hard to come across genuine people these days that are just true to themselves. What is your favorite time of the year? I'm gonna say spring. Do you play an instrument? I tried to learn the guitar, and it was very difficult for me. My hands are very small. You really can't probably tell on the video, but they're very small. And to wrap my hand around the fender, it's very difficult. Yeah, like it would just hurt my fingers. The fingers would bleed. You know, it's just a build cat. I just lazied out. Do you speak any other languages other than English? I'm sorry, I have to adjust myself here because I'm getting kind of, my leg is falling asleep. I speak a bit of Japanese, which I learned a couple of years ago, and I also can speak German a little bit. So like Japanese, I can say phrases and words, but not too much. It's kind of left my brain. So like I can eins, zwei, drei, vier, fünf, sechs, 7, 8, 9, 10, different colors and like shrimpt, swimming, schwarz, weiß, grün, things like that, and things that are pretty simple, you know what I mean? I really wanted to learn German fluently, but I stopped doing that about a couple months ago. About 4 months ago I stopped learning German. Do you watch Game of Thrones? And if so, who's your favorite characters? I do watch Game of Thrones, and my favorite character is probably, it's a hard one. I really like Tyrion Lannister and Jon Snow. So do I believe in soulmates? No. I don't think so. Do you believe in fate or coincidence? I'm not too sure about that one, to be honest with you. I think that in life you make your own choices, and those choices, like, they project you to the life that you're going to live, if that makes sense. So every choice and thought that you make is going to determine what kind of life that you're going to live. And obviously your environment and your surroundings too. Do you have any children? No, I do not. If so, do you plan on having any? If you plan on having any, which do you most prefer, a boy or a girl? I don't plan on having any soon, for sure, and I wouldn't care if it was a boy or a girl. What's your ASMR waifu? I don't know if I have one. I think Cosmic Tingles, I think her name is really pretty. But I don't know. Weird question. Would you ever consider getting laser corrective surgery? Probably, if I'm gonna be completely honest. If I had $8,000 or whatever it is right now, I probably would. If I could just get it done, because it's quite irritating to constantly be paying for new contacts and glasses, and like if it's raining outside, the rain goes on your glasses and your contacts get dry, and it's just kind of a nightmare. I'm just trying to think of any other questions I can answer you guys. I'm sorry, I had to stop the video because my neighbor's dog was barking again, but I unfortunately have to end the video now because my laptop is going to die. And I didn't bring the charger with me, and I'm actually out of questions. I went through quite a bit of them on my YouTube, and I don't really seem to have like that many more prevalent ones than I already have. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that the audio is a lot better. I tinkered with it a lot better than I had previously. So quickly before I go, my next role plays will be the head to toe nurse role play and kissing sounds, only kissing sounds, positive affirmations. That was actually one of the questions I got, was if you're going to do another positive affirmation, and I will. So, there's lots. I listed a lot of them, and I'll list more in this video. So, thanks for watching, guys, and thank you for your questions, and thank you for the 10,000 subscribers. It's amazing, and yeah, I want to make sure I turn this off before my computer shuts off, or else I think I might lose my video.